Hi, my name is Brandon Hernandez. For this interview, I decided to interview my brother, Colin Hernandez. My brother started his own business called Clout Marketing, which essentially it's a social media marketing business. His business kind of works to help local businesses in Arizona with their social media marketing. And he does stuff as far as Facebook management, Instagram management, uh, SEO optimization, email marketing, Facebook ads, kind of depending on what services the business needs. He'll kind of help them out. He tends to target local businesses in the area, businesses that are particularly struggling with their social media or don't have really an active social media presence because he feels that these businesses are the most in need of his services and he can offer the most value to them. He's responsible for all strategic business decisions made by his company. He is the sole decision maker, so kind of what he says goes. So as far as the future of his company, he's solely responsible. One of the interesting things that was mentioned during the interview was when I asked him what his biggest challenge was with his business. And he kind of said that his biggest challenge was in starting up his business, he didn't really know where to draw the line with his clients. What I mean by this is he didn't know with his clients how to tell them what he is responsible for and what he's not responsible for. So basically his clients would ask him like anything social media related, they'd ask him to help them in accomplishing, whether it be a task or just a question. But he was kind of overextending himself into areas outside of the realm of what he offers. So, in order to kind of fix this issue, he needed to have more defined plans of services. So, kind of telling the client exactly what he's offering, and along with this, clear expectations with the client. The client needed to know exactly what they should expect when working with him and kind of the results associated with what he offers. In addition to this, another interesting aspect that we talked about was how external factors came into play with his business. Probably the biggest external factor for his business, as far as probably many businesses around the world right now, is how COVID is affecting it. So COVID, particularly for local businesses, affected them a lot because there was times of uncertainty where businesses weren't even sure if they were going to stay open, whether they closed down, or kind of whether or not they'd see the consistent revenue coming in during these times. So with that being said, it kind of made client acquisition a lot tougher on my brother. It was kind of harder to get clients to commit to signing up with him because it was during a time where they weren't even sure if they were going to stay open. So like what would the need be for a social media marketing at that time be? Uh, the way he kind of went around this was just by kind of targeting businesses that were a little more on their feet, let's say, and had kind of a consistent revenue coming in even during these times so that they'd be able to afford him, kind of see the value that he's able to offer them and want to work with him. Another thing that we discussed was business strategy. I was particularly interested with this one because I was interested to see what strategy he thought he followed. Because from an outside perspective, I felt that he followed a differentiation strategy, which means that he kind of separates himself from other firms or other businesses. And I felt that he did this through being local and being kind of very attentive to the businesses he works with, as opposed to maybe these larger firms who don't often get to spend as much time with their clients. But to my surprise, he said that he followed a cost leadership strategy, which means he believes that he is a cost leader for the industry that he's in. I am not too sure exactly whether I believe that this strategy is sustainable for the future, just because I don't feel as if there's any reduction or cost or any processes that he has put in place that make him cheaper than someone else willing to come into this industry and kind of follow a similar strategy as him. Uh, Probably the biggest lesson or biggest takeaway that I took out of this interview was working with your strengths. So for my brother, his strengths were that he's local, which means he gets to spend a lot more time with his clients and kind of develop deeper relationships with them to kind of help them out better in their goals that they're trying to achieve. Another thing that he mentioned was the age advantage that he kind of gets because he is 22 and freshly like out of college. So a lot of clients will look at that and they'll see, okay, this guy's young, this guy just graduated college, he probably knows a lot about social media. And that often works to his advantage when trying to get these clients because they feel as if he has a better understanding of what exactly he's doing and what he's not. Subsequently, he uses these strengths to overcome his weaknesses. Like I mentioned before, his main competitors are going to be like those bigger firms or bigger organizations that have a lot more resources than he does. So they're working often in teams of like 10 people or maybe more in order to create a final outcome of like, let's say, an advertisement or a content creation. Whereas opposed to him, it's just himself working. So the quality might not be as much as those bigger firms, but he kind of uses the strengths of being local and being able to help businesses in a more personal level to his advantage. Another big takeaway I learned through this interview is going to be just being adaptable, being able to adapt to outside circumstances like we mentioned before with COVID, or kind of being able to adapt to anything that comes your way, because the market's always changing. There's going to be external factors that relate into your business. There's going to be for him in particular, he mentioned that social media regulations and stuff often come into play. So he's not sure whether Facebook might change something in the way that he's running his business that affects him, or whether Instagram might do so. So he's got to be able to kind of roll with the punches and be able to adapt so that he can provide the best work for his client.